hello. This is your boy Glenn T, the Urban Surfer. This is another episode of Riding the Wave. How are you guys feeling out there today? Definitely looking forward to all of your comments, questions, and suggestions. Again, this is the Urban Surfer Glenn T with Riding the Wave. Today's topics, I think I just want to speak a little bit about relationships. Seems like everybody has a little issues with relationships, and why not shed a little light on it? I mean, I've had a few of my own, and that's something that we always tend to have, relationships, right? If you're far into a relationship, just time to crawl out the casket or out the womb. Otherwise, you've had one before, you just didn't realize it. Again, this is Glenn T. You are now riding the wave. Again, today's topics is relationships. Let's talk a little bit about what do you feel? When it comes to relationships, do you feel that once you've broken up with someone, let's just say, for instance, no connection, you don't have any children with this person or anything, it's just a really good relationship, you might have put some years into it, and now you are officially broken up. Okay, some time has went by, you guys said, hey, live your life, I'll live mine. Do you feel like the connection is actually necessary after that? I know some people that can either answer it either way. For me, my opinion is I feel once the relationship is over, it is over. All bets are off. There's no need to talk anymore. I mean, if you guys have spent years together, I would never ignore the phone calls or anything like that, just in case if there is an emergency, but I would set that stipulation on the outro. If you ask other people, they would probably think that I'm leaving the door open for anything, and you may have another crowd that feels that that's the least you can do. So I just want to get your opinions. Again, you can reach me on Glenn_Town on Twitter. You can also find me at ridingthewave.podcast@gmail.com. Those are definitely the main ways. I am always looking for new suggestions, ideas, things you want to talk about, things that we can listen to, stuff that we can just mull over. How many of you guys out there have been married before? Well, I know I have. You know, have you ever been in a really serious relationship? Well, this is definitely for you. I know that I was married. I was with my ex. We were high school sweethearts. We did quite a few years together. We had a bunch of children, and it got sour. Something that none of us actually expected to see, but all the same happened. What do you do under those circumstances? Let me ask you. If things get sour, I mean, do you feel, especially when there's kids involved, how do you approach this? How do you approach it effectively? How do you actually get back to some type of normality between you, the children, and your now ex-partner? I know for a fact I've tried, and it is not the easiest thing to do. Especially when you have kids that may not agree with the parents' decisions, so they may be mad at both parents. You also have the situation where one may have acted in a fashion would cause the other party to now look at the ex differently, losing respect, etc. They tend to act different towards the other person. You also have your cordial couples, which, you know, it's just an agreement between two parties, and they say, hey, listen, life is short. Why don't we just go ahead and make the best of it? Why be down each other's throats? I wish I had the latter. I'm stuck in the middle or the beginning somewhere. I'm looking for help, suggestions, any comments. What do you think? How do you get a situation that's been bad, and been bad for many years? How do you get that to come back to some type of cordial and normal level? Because honestly speaking, it is one of the hardest things to deal with on any level of consistency. One day you want to be entirely normal, you pick up the phone, and say, for instance, you want to do something extra with the kids. And now this partner that you was once so in love with and so in adoration for is now the op. And you guys know what that means. I know things get bad beforehand, but when things get bad after the fact, and there's money exchanges and there's all types of other things going on that are in agreement between both parties, I just feel that there's no need to be an obstacle, to be the opposition, to be the party that's going to make life any more difficult for anyone involved. Sometimes people act that way just because they feel like it. They feel like, hey, this person has actually sent me through the entire position to now be a divorcee, to go through the courts and all of this and that, and the inconveniences of the life after that. Why would I make it any easier for this person under any circumstances? Quick question. If you guys had joint custody and, one parent has visitation rights and the other one doesn't, do you, well, let me just reword that. One has visitation rights, one has custodial rights. Now, the one that has the visitation rights, do you feel they deserve to have the kids dropped off or picked up from their possession at any point? Or do you feel the party that's the visitor should be responsible for picking up the children and bringing them back? I want your opinions. Again, this is Riding the Wave with Glenn T. You can catch me at Glenn_Town on Twitter. ridingthewave.podcast@gmail.com. Really would like to hear opinions. I want to hear some different comments. I know there's some mixed feelings about little things like this, but these are actually obstacles that causes people to change arrangements. Yes, a whole arrangement can be changed. So this is something that you may want to look into if you're actually having that problem. You may want to figure out the best way how to sit down and make things cordial, because at the end of the day, really, in all reality, guess who's getting hurt? It's going to be those little babies. It's not going to be anybody else. As an adult, you're used to disappointments. You're used to not getting things your way. You're even used to compromising or negotiating situations to where everybody's a win-win. Children cannot see what adults do. They do not have the mental capacity half the times to fully understand why we make the decisions we make. But all they see is two grown people that are no longer consistently in their lives. So all the choices, the lessons, all of the things that you've taught these kids before are now open for discussion with the world, because you've lost all credibility. You can teach your children something that will be some of the best information they can probably run across. Can't find it in a book. It has to have a stamp of love and a lot of experience and trial and error to go with it. They probably was running with that same information for a long time. But guess what? As soon as you divorce, it becomes invalid. Why? Because it didn't work for you. Trust me. I know. So how do you bounce back from this? What do? I tell you what I did. I was the father that raised all my children. I was there every day, did the schools, did the appointments, I did pretty much everything. I played my role, started at a very young age. These kids looked at me like I was a superhero at one point. I never realized it because I was young myself. So that's one thing. If you're a young parent, sometimes you tend to overlook the gems that are happening because you're still not fully developed yourself. And not to say if you're completely young or you're young-ish, but, when you're not well established, you're not really making the choices that you would normally make if you had time to think about it. A lot of stuff becomes on the fly or because this is the best option. These things are now on the table. But all the same, kids look up to their parents. Mostly. My children happen to look up to me. They know when they woke up in the morning, I was ready to take them to school. They know that I was picking them up from school. And they know that I was doing all of this while I was working and going to school. So I guess there was tipping their hats off to me, but the flaws came later. Oh, sidebar. Let me ask you something. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Glenn T. That's T like Tom, right? Glenn T, and this is Riding the Wave. What I want to ask you guys is, if there was an issue between husband and wife, soon to be exes, do you feel that the kids should be involved in this information? I'm talking about full disclosures as to why you guys were breaking up. Now, certain circumstances, I mean, it could be something financial, it could be something, you're cheating, it can be a number of things, but do you feel that the children need to be involved in that aspect of the narration? I want your opinions, all right? Glenn_Town, that's at Twitter, and ridingthewave.podcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from my audience. Definitely looking forward to that. Again, if anybody want to drop in on my show, please drop me a line either on email or on my Twitter. Let me know that you're interested, you want to talk to me. I don't bite. Again, I'm always open for interviews with other people as well. It adds variety. It keeps the podcast audience going. And it's just good for the craft itself. Again, I am a new podcaster. Hopefully, I will get the audience that can listen to me and I can change one life a day. This is the Urban Surfer, Glenn T. You are riding the wave. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if this is something that a spouse should do to the children, and not just the spouse. It could be the husband or the wife, but the custodial parent in the matter. Do you feel that they should be the ones to explain what happened, if at all? Do you feel it should be the visiting parent, the non-custodial parent? Or do you feel that neither parent should actually explain these things until it is absolutely necessary? So again, drop me a line. I want to hear what you guys got to say. This is Riding the Wave. All we're doing here is trying to make each other surf as smoothly as possible to the shore. The shore absolutely is the finish line, as you do know. This water is life. The surfboard is our actions. You can put it all together. Again, this is my opinions. This is my reality. It's my perception. I want to hear from you guys, though, because this is what really makes the world go around. We're interacting. Let's go ahead and interact. I don't bite. I am interested in talking with other podcasters, and I am interested in hearing what you guys have to say yourselves. Relationships, again, not for everybody. Some people have been jaded by these things. Some people are just serial with these things. What do you think? Do you feel that a person should look at every relationship as individual? I mean, you want to look at your next partner as if you've never had a relationship? Or do you let your future potential partner feel the pain from all of the other relationships that you may have had? Whether it's 1, whether it's 10. Is it fair to the person that's signing up for this new future with you to feel some of the pains of the past? Or is it fair for you to walk into this new relationship naive as if nothing can go wrong? So that's a doozy there. We can probably stretch that one out, but not for anything. We don't really want to stretch too many things out because this is about relationships right now. These are just points that I would love to hear. I would love to read some of those emails and get involved in some of those tweets and things of that nature, so that way I can see what the people feel, because at